Johansen Manifest, 20.11.2009, Berlin. Die Scarlett Johansson-Geräusche.
My friends, I first met Jonathan Meese in 2006 in Hamburg. We had an appointment in his big show at the Deichtorhallen called Mama Johnny. What a funny title for an exhibition, I thought. On the poster, Jonathan with heavy makeup on, looking like a samurai of art. Weeks later, I met him again in Berlin in his home, next door to his gallery, Contemporary Fine Arts, to prepare a show in the Karl Marx Museum in Trier and to talk about a big show in the future. The idea was for an installation and performance in Gabriele D'Annunzio's former estate, today called the Vittoriale degli Italiani, a place infused by Mussolini's fascism. In the gallery, Jonathan gave me some copies of the Mama Johnny catalog, and I was immediately fascinated by the photo on the front cover. Only Jonathan's head, looking unemotional. A perfect studio photo, no text, no title, nothing, only this photo, taken by his photographer Jan Bauer. The gallery employed him that year to accompany Jonathan all the time. During lunch, Jonathan asked me if I knew the role model for this picture. The only thing which came to my mind was a well-known painting by Albrecht Dürer, Self-Portrait with Coat. Dürer posing like the Messiah. But Jonathan said that the inspiration was, on the one hand, a photo of Marlene Dietrich, I don't know which one exactly, and on the other hand, this one of Adolf Hitler. To be correct, he said, his inspiration was Marlene Dietrich, but Jan Bauer's model was a famous poster that Heinrich Hoffmann, Hitler's personal photographer, made out of one of the portraits he took from Hitler at that time. A really primitive collage, he cut out the head with scissors and positioned it on a sheet of black paper. No headline, no program, only Hitler in capital letters, that's all. We were used to slogans like future of family or the best for you and the country. But here it was just Hitler, really revolutionary. At this point, it is important to mention that there was no such name on the front cover of the Mama Johnny catalog, neither Meese nor Jonathan Meese. The next page in the catalog is filled with lots of small black and white photos, Jonathan making bizarre gestures. He wears a flannel shirt and his usual coat pants, looking a bit like a carpenter. Not really charming. More plump, we can see his belly. On the next double page, Jonathan is helping his mother in the kitchen, drying the dishes. What a private and intimate shot, I thought. Usually we like the idea to look behind the curtain. I'm no idiot, so I realized that the small, bizarre photos were also inspired by a set of photos that Hoffmann took of Hitler. Hitler tried some poses which were later never used when he was acting and speaking on stage. But these photos were sometimes used to illustrate newspapers when there were no photos of the event itself. But I was really astonished when Jonathan told me that this photo in the kitchen was also inspired by a photo by the Hitler-Hoffmann duo. I always say Hitler-Hoffmann because Hitler played a very active role in this collaboration. And this is the same with Jonathan and his photographer Jan Bauer. The photo was inspired by a picture of Hitler in a field kitchen eating soup. This tactic is also often used by our contemporary politicians. Sometime later, I met Jan Bauer in person, and he told me that Jonathan didn't know this context when Bauer took the photo. But what they were trying at that time was stage-mentioned privateness. Once on that path, I find more and more references to Hoffmann's and Hitler's efforts. In a kind of fanzine called General Tanz, named after a figure from the film The Night of the Generals, there are only photos of Jonathan in more or less private poses. The cleaning woman in his studio, him lying on the bed with a revolver in his mouth, on the way to his studio with an Adidas shopping bag, dancing with the widow of his friend Jörg Immendorf, with collectors and friends, his gallerist. Old photos that we usually know from the red top press or magazines like Gala. The source for these pictures was again and again the couple Hoffmann-Hitler. Later I learned that Jan Bauer worked for Associated Press before he became Meese's photographer. He's from East Germany and played a prominent role during the reunification. He made some of the best photos of the Leipzig Monday demonstrations, a story like a spy story. Later in West Germany, he took lots of photos of politicians, of our Chancellor Angela Merkel, for example. But also this one of former Chancellor Gerhard Schröder and his foreign minister Joschka Fischer. So Jan was a professional photographer of politicians before he began to work for Jonathan and the gallery. And it is well known that most of the codes of this field were invented in the 1930s. Not only in Germany, but also in Italy, Russia, and no wonder in America. It was Roosevelt who started a great image campaign, more effective than all of the efforts that the German propaganda machine undertook. The only difference in discovering techniques to influence the masses was a name and, of course, a purpose. In America, it was not called propaganda, but mass communication. And this mass communication was not totalitarian, but at least total. But Hitler-Hoffmann were best at stage managing photos. Look at this photo of Hitler in lederhosen. Or that one here. They were never used in the official propaganda, but they tried these things. Really useful was the image of Hitler as one of us, not using the military uniform or another uniform, the suit, just private. Hitler with children or an old mountain farmer with his favorite dog called Blonder. We can find a solution for every possible situation. This is really interesting because before Hitler met Hoffmann, he was seldom captured on film. In this respect, he was totally unknown to the public. Look at this caricature. How does Adolf Hitler look? Nothing like the black moustache or the usual hairstyle. By the way, Heinrich Hoffmann ran a well-known photo studio in Munich's bohemian side of town called Schwabing. It was there that the artist scene met, and when Marcel Duchamp came to Munich in 1923, he went to Hoffmann's studio to make a picture, this one here. We don't really know what Duchamp did in Munich at that time. A friend of mine tried